Okay, this is a service announcement, maybe, for going back to school, going back to work, going to nursing school. Watch your diet. Watch your sodium intake. It's just so easy with the junk food or whatever diet they have on these campuses, and just on the go lifestyle. You might have a lot of high blood pressure. I mean, I noticed this with a couple other people, but especially for myself, to a point where my professors took me to the side and said, "Get your blood pressure checked." It was like 165 over 105 or something like that, and I was like, "What?" Because it historically had been pretty good, actually. With stress, I was always riding high, but when I was out of work, at home or somewhere else, it went to 120 over 80, like 120 over 78 or something like that. And I noticed this when I was taking my life insurance policies out when I was a little younger, maybe my late 30s, and they come and take your blood pressure medicine, your blood pressure medicines, your blood pressure, and it was crazy high. I forgot what it was. It was like 155, 158. I was whatever. But then, thankfully, the what do they call it? I guess medical assistants, whatever, said, "Let's go to the conference room. Let's sit down," because he I believe it was a guy. He saw how crazy my office was, and I was like, "Okay, let's do it there." And after a few minutes, he sat there, chit-chatted, and he took my blood pressure again. It was like 128, I remember, or 126. And he said, honestly, back then, I didn't know the difference in the numbers, but he was like, "Yeah, that's a lot better." He said, I could tell that was what was just, I guess he saw my face and how I was running things and whatever. He said, "That's all you need. I knew you looked healthy, whatever. It's just, and by the way, it's a silent killer, so that's not always the case." But he saw the stress, I think, that was on my face. In nursing school, you're going to have that, but you're also going to have a horrible diet. These campuses, that's why I never ate on the campus cafeteria, but still, when I packed my own lunches, I still was kind of stupid about it. A lot of chips and stuff. You got to cut that down. You had to watch your sodium intake. Like I said, we were doing our blood pressure, back and forth to the students, our clinical on that, on-campus clinical on that. And it was soaring. And I think it was like 175 over something. To almost a hypertensive crisis, right? Urgency, at least. So that's when the professor took me aside after class, after the clinical, and she's like, "You have to really think about it." She's my age, too. So she was like, she didn't realize that. She was like, "Wow." And when she found out how old I was, she was like, "Wow, you better." So I was like, okay. And I was like, I checked my blood pressure, and it wasn't that bad. Like when I calmed down out of the school setting. And then I think it was after one of the lessons on high blood pressure that we were talking about sodium intake, and I was like, maybe that's it. So I started cutting that out. And sure enough, my blood pressure almost tanked, in the sense of like, it went back to normal. And I was like, wow. And I didn't realize how much that affects you. So depending on what kind of background you're coming from, like I said, I'm from a manufacturing background. I didn't know even what the blood pressure numbers meant. So I had no idea how to affect it or whatever. I didn't have to deal with that. Whereas, even though I have a lot of patients that aren't in the medical field or healthcare field, they have been dealing with their own hypertension for so long that they are very expert at it. And we could talk shop on it and know what to watch. So, just as a nurse, you got to educate them. It's another big thing about the nursing field. So I'm assuming, by and large, most of my audience, you guys are like I was 3-4 years ago, and we're like, I think I know a stethoscope is worn like this. By the way, cat ears, they point forward. That's how you wear the steths. I had no idea. I I didn't know what the heck the numbers meant. And you don't want it getting away from you, by and large, I've had pretty healthy lifestyle, decent, like I said, I think I said in another video, I've weightlifted, trained for over 30 years, on and off, but at least 20 to 25 of those years. I've probably been weightlifting close to 35 years, close to 35 years. So in that time frame, at least 25, maybe 25 to 28 years weightlifting and whatever gym workouts. Not buff anymore, unfortunately. Once you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. But you have to watch your diet. You have to watch your exercise, your activity. I strongly suggest walking a mile to 2 to 3 miles, a day tops. 3 miles should be good. But try to walk a mile. If you can't walk a mile, you're not going to be ready for nursing as a nurse, because you're going to walk a lot on the unit. You could probably get away with 1 mile a day, 2 miles a day. I think that's it. I tend to walk a lot on my work. I pull in 15 to 17,000 steps. I did more than that as a tech, I think. As a nurse, probably in that range. Yesterday's shift was my easiest shift ever, but because I was done 3 hours in, I helped all my friends, the other nurses on the unit. So I was not running, but walking to their rooms and whatever, for them, because everyone else had it was a shitstorm for them. I don't know why I got all the good and they got all the crap. Sorry, but I didn't want to leave them in the lurch, so I helped them a lot, they answered call bells, whatever, did their IVs or what have you, even administered meds for them. It's no problem, because they were doing the mitts and whatever. I had a full crew, so they weren't going anywhere. But you help your friends out as you can. But because of that, and looking back, I'm like, holy crap, I walked the entire unit. It's like I had every room. And I had a lot of their patients before too. So I was like, hey, how you doing? It's me again. No, I'm working on the other side. Because they're like, oh, you're my nurse today. I was like, no, not tonight. Sorry. I'm just helping out. I'm just helping it here, giving little meds or doing whatever, repositionings or bathings or whatever. So, that was another thing. The techs were kind of surprised I was helping out in that sense. I was like, some of them knew I was a tech, so they weren't surprised. But some of the other ones that didn't know I was a former tech were a little surprised because, for whatever reason, I find it shocking, especially ex-techs that become nurses. They don't do that stuff anymore. I do it. I defer to techs actually in certain procedures because I'm like, this is their job. This is what I'll be the follower. You tell me what you need. I'll be the muscle, the grunt. It's both our patients. It's their patients, my patient. Even in this scenarios where I was helping my friends out and they weren't technically my patients, they're my friend's patient. And I'm going to help them. So, I'm just shocked sometimes nurses think they're above that. Don't be like that. You're never above doing stuff like that. We're wiping butts, all right? Yes. And we're also inserting NG tubes. Yes. We're doing chest tubes. Yes. And we're also wiping their privates after they go. There's nothing. It's not above you, beneath you. It's like you're your children. Like I said, I always take a paternal attitude to my patients. As big as my kids are now. I say, yeah, I wipe their butts. Change your diapers. Ugh. So you're always going to be those little babies to me in that sense. And my patients are always going to be, in that sense, a caring for them in that sense. I watch over them. I don't like the attitude where some of the nurses have, just like, hey, I'm not going to do that. That's beneath me. I said, would you not do that for your kid? Do it, Anyhow, going back to being somewhat fit, try to walk a couple miles a day. I think that will get you nicely prepared for being a nurse. But something that's a little more silent is your sodium level, your sodium intake, and your high blood pressure, your blood pressure. Watch that. Be careful. That can get out of control really quickly. Like I said, I'm usually textbook on my blood pressure. When I let my diet get away from me, it was like horrible. This is really long. I've been throwing a lot of long videos. I'm sorry. I just kind of ramble. I'm just kind of ranting. That's what it is. Some of these I post, some of these I don't. Yeah. I might reshoot this one because this is just me ranting. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Bye.